Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you are all well on this marvellous, marvellous Monday. And what else is marvellous? You're marvellous. You're marvellous for being here this early on a Monday. And you looking bloody marvellous too. So let's get on with the meat and potatoes. As we had a bit of a mixed review yesterday, we obviously spoke about the fact that Dylan Mortensen had been seen out and about. She'd been out and about with her friends, the sorority lot, and they'd been out partying. And I knew that video would split the room. I knew it, because people struggle to step back and think about the bigger picture, everything. They're stuck in their little boxes with their blinkers on, and they've already made their minds up. And when they've made their minds up of a specific situation, they then can't look at anything else. They can't contemplate anything else. There is no point in having a discussion about Dylan Mortensen and her actions and inactions and what's happened afterwards. There is no point in doing that with somebody who already has Bryan Kohberger pegged as guilty 100%. That's a fact, because in their eyes, Bryan Kohberger is the person who did it. Everything else is just noise. It doesn't matter. It's not relevant. And I think that people they forget that Bryan Kohberger, obviously, and this, I know this is like a broken record, but he has the right to the presumption of innocence. And if you can presume that he could potentially be innocent, then somebody else is guilty along the way. We also have a situation where this entire case, this entire crime, the time situation just seems fractured. It seems off. Something don't sit right. We're supposed to believe that this guy, and if we step all the way back, this guy comes into Washington in August time. And then by November, he has done reconnaissance on a house. He has... they don't even live near him. They live in a different area. But they've captured his eye enough for him to want to murder them, to do this heinous crime. And this is someone who's never done anything like this before that he has been caught. I appreciate that he hasn't been caught doing anything, but there is nothing in his past that would suggest that he is violent. Nothing at all. Nobody has come forward and said anything about Bryan Kohberger being a violent person. There is still people who are coming forward and speaking and making ridiculous comments, like they're still talking about when Bryan was arrested and the fact that he was seen segregating rubbish out of the bins in his kitchen wearing gloves. And I say to people, you will go in comments and you will say these things, but you won't turn around and say how it's normal that if somebody is segregating their rubbish to put gloves on because they don't want to handle it without gloves. You don't mention that in this specific area where Bryan Kohberger's parents lived, it is law for them to segregate their rubbish in the manner with which he was. Also, you don't mention the fact that it's quite normal for people to put rubbish in their neighbour's garden bin. Not in the garden, not like throwing it over the fence. That would be bad. But do you know what I mean? All these things. Anyway, I digress. Time. And then the crime itself. Bryan Kohberger did this entire crime from start to finish, out the door, and out the door in a manner with which he seemingly was clean. He cleaned himself, disrobed or whatever he did, and he did it in around 8 minutes. Now, you know that even law enforcement have a problem with this issue because every time they mention it, they extrapolate on things. They put the time was between X time and that time, expanding it. At no point have they, but remember, these are the professionals. These are the professionals. These are the people who are garnering all the evidence, and these are the people you've got to trust, but yet they cannot be trustworthy enough to simply say that we believe these crimes happened between, say, 4:12 and 4:18. Do you know what I mean? They're pushing for this between 4 and 5, or between 3 and 4, or 2 and 3 if you're Kathy Mabbott. And it just doesn't sit right. Whenever they're talking about things, they're trying to be expansive, and it's being dishonest. It's being dishonest because people are not getting the accurate information. They're not truly understanding what you're saying has happened in this crime. But anyway, like I say, I knew there was going to be backlash yesterday from the Dylan Morton. So I just want to say, like I said in that video, I don't have an issue with Dylan Mortensen going out and having parties. What I have an issue with is them pictures were from a few weeks ago. Literally a few weeks ago. So around the time that this is happening, her family are doing interviews saying that she is basically a recluse. She's suffering from survivor's guilt, and the only sort of thing that she's doing is sitting in the house and playing video games. And I have to wonder why they are then being dishonest. Why can't they just come out and say she is doing better? She's actually doing better. She has got good friends around her and she is going out. She's trying to get back to a normal life. See, that's what sits uncomfortable with me. It sits uncomfortable with me when even the families of these kids, and they've got me fucking saying kids now. They're not kids, they're fucking young adults. These young adults, their families are coming out and making it look like they're suffering when they're not. And I know that's going to sound harsh and some people are not going to like that. But there is a massive difference between truly suffering from survivor's guilt, being a recluse, not being able to leave the house, needing counselling and seeking advice from your spirits. And I don't mean Jack fucking Daniels and Johnny Walker either. They were talking about the church. And it sits uncomfortable. All I'm saying is it sits uncomfortable. Why can't people just come out and be honest? Said, yes, she's gone out on a piss. She's young. She's a young adult. She's got friends around and she's going out. She's trying to get back to normal. We're a year down the track. I could understand that. And that would be open. But they didn't do that. They were trying to hide it. They were trying to attack people online and trying to say that we had fueled a situation that seemingly didn't exist. And when you pair that with the fact that just days after this crime happened, they were out getting tattoos. We now see that they are indeed out on a piss, they're going out on a piss, and they are indeed getting advice from the spirits. And then you've got posts like this. Now, I'm not saying that there's any truth in this post, but these posts exist, and you have to sort of ask yourself, is this person an absolute raving lunatic, or is there some truth behind it? And when you see shit like this, it gives more, validity to this. It makes it seem like you can't just turn around and say, I'm going to disregard that, it's just complete and utter junk. And it reads, while all you people feel sad for DM, let me help you out. Her and her man are involved. They helped clean up and lied. She was out the next night with Bridget and Ashlyn after the unalivens, laughing about what was done to Kaylee. Won't get into details. Laughing about how she suffered and pleading for her life. Laughing about how they won't be able to recognise them, etc. You get the point. DM hated her dog. She used to kick him when Kaylee wasn't around. She wanted her dead. Do you people not get it? I'm not trying to be rude. I'm so frustrated. I live in Moscow. Went to same college, and I'll just say was close enough to know what I'm talking about. I moved out of Moscow when we became aware BK was indeed innocent. DM is not a victim. She hated Kaylee and Maddie. I'm talking now because I no longer live in Moscow. I'm sick and tired of people excusing her. My God, if you guys only knew the truth. They were all laughing because they know the chief has their back. I probably misspelled a lot. I'm extremely angry and frustrated because I feel like the truth has come out and no one wants to believe it. The end. And like I say, this person could be a complete and utter nutcase. They could. They could be someone who sits in the basement, covers himself in peanut butter and cling film and dances around. Do you know what I mean? And that's the truth. But when you contemplate certain elements of this case and what you see and what you hear, it offers validity to this. Like it talks about the fact that the chief has their back. And I still question when you say that there was such a delay in calling for assistance and calling friends first, that needed to be addressed by law enforcement, and it never was. You know, we're seeing that they're trying to suggest that these students are in some form of danger. Every time there is a gag, every time there is something that is released that is not released to the public, one of the excuses is that they're keeping these witnesses and that safe. And yet they are out fucking partying. You've got Bethany Funk getting engaged. So life is going on for them, and they don't seem to be suffering as much as what people lead us to believe. And look, I don't want them to be suffering. I'm not saying I want them to suffer. I just want honesty and transparency. And that seems to be something that this case just can't give. It cannot give honesty and transparency. Let me know down below what you think. I'll catch you all in the next one.